Hey guys, my name is Simpzy. How you all doing? Welcome back to some more Empire Total War Darthmod here today on the channel. We're back on our Prussian Empire campaign. This is episode 6. In today's episode, we're going to be declaring war upon Russia. Here today, the Battle of the Ushers is about to begin. So, if you like the sound of that, feel free to leave the video a like, subscribe if you're new around here with notifications on, let me know in the comments, feedback and suggestions for the series, and we'd like me to expand and conquer. 3 full stacks under Gerhard are pushing for Ukraine. We have Sebastian Voss leading the charge for Minsk. So we have 6 in the general sphere, and then we have another 4 units up towards the north. We currently are the dominant force in Central Europe. We have united the German provinces, and we've knocked out Austria and Poland. We currently have overseas territory in the Bay of Bengal. We have 2 forces ready to go against the Mughals, if need be, along with the trade node and tea resources and gems in Ceylon. We've also taken territory in the Americas, believe it or not. In the last episode, we managed to create and give rise to German Texas all the way over here. We've also got some Caribbean territories as well. But Texas is firmly under Prussian control. I'll put in the description below the mod if you guys like to download and play along with me. Alrighty, so let's start the grand Prussian invasion of Russia. If you guys can remember, it must have been episode 1 or maybe even 2 that we were at war with Prussia when we declared war upon Austria, and I did have to peace out with them. They do have an alliance with the United States and Denmark, and they have a protectorate, so we'll just have to see how we go here. I doubt the states are going to stand with them. You wouldn't think so, but we could be drawn into a war against Denmark. Ah, they broke it. But they refused to join us. Ah, so the British, the Swedish, the Maratha Confederacy and the Ottomans are going to come out and help. Because when I declared war upon the Austrians in episode 1 or 2, I think it was, the Russians got called in. And the only way they would accept peace was to, in fact, take Estonia from us. And I still haven't forgotten, or nor will I forgive. So, the Danish don't actually own Copenhagen. They've fled back to Norway, the Danish house. They do have Iceland and stuff. So we do have an army and navy near Rome. So that's just chilling here. We might actually send that up north, because it was just holding there. We've got 1, 2, 3 stacks sort of holding on the border there with the French. We are still going for our long victory conditions, and we still need to take Strasbourg, I think even Copenhagen. But we do need to hit 40 territories or so. So, going against Russia is definitely the play. It's going to be easier said than done. They have a tremendous amount of territory, nearly as much as us. Economically and military, they match us. The Prussian-Russian war has broken out. We have brought in the Ottomans, and it's great to see the Swedes as well. Maybe they can push and come and help us out in Finland. So the public order's been shot a little bit here, but we still hold Venice, Genoa, and Liguria. France had a republic in one of the earlier episodes, so that's why they have the French modern day flag there. We will have to look out in Hanover itself. So Gerhard is going to be pushing for the city of Kiev. And looking at that auto resolve, we have 13,000. So let's push over. Nothing like attacking the Russians in winter. But we should be able to go straight up with numerical supremacy. So what are they operating in Kiev itself? Hussars, Grenadiers. We'll try and hold them out here for now. So no city defensive, that's fine. We'll push up towards Minsk and siege that out. Which one has the harder resolve? So we'll move in Sebastian Voss. So I think, okay, that one's an easier order resolve in Minsk. We'll bring everyone further up where we can. The thing is, in Empire, the road to Russia is actually quite long. We'll send in the northern host And it's actually easier up towards Estonia and Latvia. Kurland, Rolf Muller is sitting further back there. So we have a fair few armies, 11 or so in operation on the Eastern Front. So let's do a quick save and a hard save, and let's fight for the Battle of Kiev with Gerhard von. Let's get stuck into the Russians for the first time of the series. A rather professional army we're coming up against. Our deploying army of 4.1. They refused the ultimatum. It's coming up against 5.5. Loading in now. It's winter again. We've had a lot of battles in the winter. It just happens that I've declared war in winter. I don't actually plan it to avoid the debuffs. When the time is right, I will strike. Because once you start bordering, posturing up on AI territory, depending on some mods, but most of the AI is like, oh, okay, there's a growing mass on my border here. What's this? So looking at the terrain here, there seems to be a decent... Oh, wow. Are you kidding me? We can deploy up here. Oh my god. Gerhard, that's fantastic. You are genius. Deploy up here. We're going to be able to absolutely rip-roar through. If I can deploy up there, if it's not going to be a pain. Maybe I have to go by like one by one. What a superior position. Most of this army is made up with light infantry, that's fine. We've only got one or so grenadier unit for cavalry. My main two armies, so we've got 3, 6, 11. Then we've got 13, 15. We must have 15 units in operation. Mostly due to our tax rate income in Central Europe. That's what we've really been relying on for the majority of this series. And our manufacturing goods being spread throughout. Having that alliance with Great Britain has saved us so much. The Marathas, meh, not so much. Sweden, we actually called them into a war against Austria. They declined, and they didn't want to join the Russian war either. But now we're in a superior position. It's hard to say no to Frederick Wilhelm II, who's turning out, well, he definitely has at this point, surpassed his uncle, Frederick being the nephew of Frederick the Great and son of the Soldier King himself. We're managing to rewrite the dynasties of Europe in these empire saves. We made Louis XIV the absolute monarch in France, the quite literal Sun King himself, a goddess like Apollo, and Aurelian, I guess, could be another comparison with the sun. Sol Invictus himself. Here are some of the stats. You're most welcome to pause and have a look. But this army should be enough to go against the Russians here. We're going to try and put the pressure on them artillery, and I'm hoping they're going to charge us once we get enough shots off. So basically, our artillery is impregnable from its position, and it's going to be able to fire upon the Russian ranks with impunity. I don't know how many armies the Russians have, but I elected to take my better quality armies against the Mughals, because if I only could afford 1 or 2 stacks going there, I'd probably send the best, because the Indian territory is so fantastic. So they got 56 regiment of foot. Okay, so even this is a little bit of an indication of how many armies they have. 53rd, so they might have 6 or so stacks. 68th. Okay, now it's getting to like the potential 58th, 80th, 8th Grenadier, 57th. Okay, so infantry wise they probably have the better of us here. Let's swing around my cavalry on the left hand side and get them to a far better quality position. Quickly, men. Rotate. In and out. And let's do the same for the right-hand side. So let's target some individual infantry where we can here. The 55th and the armed citizenry. So we've surrounded Kiev, Minsk, and Estonia. St. Petersburg towards the north is the next to take. And then Moscow itself. Now the road to Moscow to take is easier said than done. Now let's try and reform my army up here slightly. Yeah, that's a bit better. Okay, so they're dividing their army up into two distinct Russian army groups. Not too much in the center. Fortunately enough for me, that's a tremendous position for that artillery, as I don't even have to worry about flanking maneuvers whatsoever. I've only got a couple of units of cavalry. And, yeah, just try and take them out where you can. Engage the 57th Regiment, the 52nd, and the 14th Grenadier on their right. Just try and turn where you can. So they're starting to pressurize us on the left with 4 units now pushing up. Hold the line, men. Gerhard is a new attack leader. And securing... I was going to say the Red Menace, but it's more so the White Menace in this. Catherine of Russia shall fall to Frederick. I'm also crossing my fingers and hoping that my allies sort of help me out a lot more in this, because Sweden do border them in Finland, and they've shown a knack for interfering on the continent and historically. And, of course, taking out Denmark, controlling Copenhagen. I'm surprised the Danes actually came in. Maybe because it's like, they've lost Copenhagen. They're hiding out in Norway. The Danish Council and Royal House. Maybe trying to hit the coastal regions of Prussia and the Balkans could be a play. The 55th is coming up against the 63rd. And if we're like fighting with 63rd, we've got like 11 sacks, so it's not understandable. They're about to come in range. And Prussian and Russian forces currently engaging themselves in Kiev, in the Ukraine. Bring them down, men. So a couple of decent volleys. Their regiments seem to be incredibly more well fitted and suited for this, with their long, warm winter coat attire. Now with our line infantry engaging, let's give them some friendly support. Artillery fire is already wavering the Russian combatants as the two belligerents crash in Kiev. I don't know what this unit is. Bolskovi intercepting. Okay. Look at that. Look at the angles that they're getting in this. Tremendous. Never seen before. To be fair, we've had a couple of lucky battles with RNG topography. It makes all the difference in Empire Total War. Just sometimes having the elevation on your side. Okay, so most of the buildings and the town are congesting up, and they're trying to wrap around us there. Let's send in my cavalry. They're trying to wrap. Let's pin them in place. Charge in and out. They'll blob up, and then we'll smack them with artillery. Cavalry! Charge! Gerhard. Engage the 57th. And this is probably one of their better quality units as well. And we're hitting them from behind. The Russians routing from whence they came. 400 they had, and they lost nearly 50 in that initial charge. And they're clashing upon our left flank like water on rock. With that successful charge, let's pull back, regroup, and continue to bombard them. On the right-hand side, they're being incredibly passive, the Russians, not looking to fall into the trap on the right, or our left. Their right, I guess. They've reformed quite quickly, and so should we. finally forming square, so we might not do it now. Let's centralize you further back. Once they get out of their formation, we'll go again. 6 units are now engaging my right-hand side. To be fair, we might actually be able to hit the guys at the front there, because they are... So the back unit's in a formation, but the front isn't. Well, let's just engage the front then. Okay, still putting the tremendous amount of pressure from the artillery now. Shake and steady. No. Still relatively active on the right. They're right. They've broken their square formation. And now just really engaging us in hand-to-hand combat. Let's cycle charge with the cavalry once more. My left center is now engaging for the first time. Let's give friendly support with artillery. The right side of the White Menace is bearing down upon us. And we're getting our first few shots off. I haven't needed to rotate, pivot, or use my cavalry on the right. But looking at theirs, they do have a couple. The Russian left-hand side is broken and in a full retreat. Now they're in square formation. I don't feel any threat from there. Let's pull back to get out of range of that square. So let's get my artillery to focus solely on the right. Can we reform this up a bit? Slightly. Because there's 2 units trying to catch us. Okay. Now they're clustering on this right-hand side a bit more. Cavalry, swing around there. They're actually following us there. Oh, they keep on showing their back, so going again. Cycle charge for the second. And the 51st is engaged in the front. Okay, how's the right now going? Oh, let's target this. You've got to be incredibly proactive with artillery in Empire Darthmod from what I've found. So guys, unfortunately this episode and series will end in the not too soon future, so let me know feedback and suggestions for it. If you want to support the channel, I do have a Patreon, and I also have membership for the channel as well. It's not necessary, of course, but it's there. Completely optional. Right, so reform this. But importantly, what I want to know is, what should I replace the series with? We're still going for our long victory conditions, but we're in episode 6 now. We're starting to wind things down. We're about to hit our long victory conditions. Once we knock out Prussia, we still have to go to war with France and Denmark. And we've killed the enemy general. Peter, the so-called Great, has fallen. So I could do more Empire Total War. I'm definitely open to that. Depending on what I'm feeling and the general feedback and consensus, like for example, this Prussian campaign was decided by you guys and myself. But these are the 3 options that I'm sort of open to. Spain, first and foremost. Ancient colonial power. I think it'd be quite cool. Fighting and securing and holding the Americas. We could sort of unite the Americas if need be, because they've got a lot of economical and territory there. We're starting just to chase down the Russians now, as they're mostly in a full retreat. But as well, they do get dragged into weird conflicts, because depending on the time period, they can own Milan in Italy. They can hold Naples in southern Italy. They can hold Belgium. Just to name a few. Maybe even playing as the Dutch could be an interesting thing. But they might be sort of too similar to the Germans, because the way you naturally progress, you're probably going to be going to war with the French. You're probably going to war with the British and the German states. Or maybe you should just go full-on colonial and carve out the Dutch Raj. Or the Dutch state, I'm not entirely sure. Or the Ottomans, even go even harder. Allow the Protestants and the Catholics to gang up on you. Although you have the economical might, you're just going to get surrounded and drawn into countless Western wars. Even depending on the time period, technology is going to be an issue. But that could be a potential play. I like the sound of that. Maybe bringing India under the Ottoman sphere of influence. 13th Regiment of Hussars still holding out now. We knocked out the general, so they have the army morale loss. And they're retreating heavily now. I'll try and run down as many of them as possible. Victory. Let's continue on. Bring them down, lads. Don't give up the ship. Okay, so we had 13k. We lost 500. They had 5.5. And the city of Kiev has fallen to the Prussians here today. What a tremendous battle. So now we've taken the breadbasket of Russia. And now the winters grow colder. And the night's long. Okay, so now that Kiev's under our control, we've got a bit of a staging ground to Russia. But like I said, it actually takes quite a long time. It's probably going to take us 4-5 turns to push up to take Moscow and Muscovy itself. Now, the Crimea is something we can take as well, but they're actually under the control of the Crimean Sultanate down there, so we can send an army down south. St. Petersburg and a couple of others. The sort of far eastern territory I'm not too fussed about, because most of the, even modern day economical might of Russia is in the west, on the border of Europe here. So Sebastian Voss is going to take Minsk, and we should be able to take 3 key core Russian territories in quick succession. We will replenish and repair where we can, and get ready to continue to move on. Okay. Yeah, so it's 3 turns to Russia. Well, let's get on our bikes, boys. The Prussians are at the gates. We're going to conquer Moscow. A couple decades before Napoleon and his Frenchness do. We'll try repair and construct what we can as well. So let's move you back around there. Yep, you can go for the Crimea. Getting the seaport there is quite crucial. Back up to Estonia now. We have our larger force. It just seems it's because we just got 16k because of the army in Courland. Okay, we got a small army there. Yeah. Ah, yes. So they have Finland, Russia. Do they normally have Finland? I don't think so. I think Finland's usually under Swedish control. Maybe that's why they were keen to join us. Regardless, we're going to be pushing towards St. Petersburg now and liberating Peter the Great's favourite city, and we'll send some more reinforcements there. We just need to get the tax rate right. We don't want rebellions to annoy us. Okay, I think we're ready to take St. Petersburg now. And we have. Fantastic. So now we've actually cut off the Russians in Finland. So guys, on that note, it is time to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching episode 6 of the Empire Total War Darthmod Prussian campaign. We've had a hell of an episode here today. We've managed to take 4 crucial territories in Russia. We're going to be marching upon Muscovy. We're going to be storming the city of Moscow itself in 1796. I was about to say BC there. AD, because I've been playing the Roman campaign off and on throughout this session. But yeah, we're going to be pushing against the Russians, hopefully the Swedes. The British seem to be targeting the Russian Navy in ports. I haven't really been focusing on it. Most of my Navy's over in other continents. But stay tuned for more content on the channel. Take care. Unfortunately, guys, it is time to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know in the comment section down below your feedback for the series. And if you'd like to see more, that's the best way to ensure more content. Leave a dislike if you're not enjoying the series. Check out my social media links if you want to stay connected with me. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all in the description below. Patreon and merchandise link in the description below, along with the Steam group. Come and join the community on Steam. And on that note, unfortunately, I have to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching once again. Make sure to take care of yourselves. Go out and have a fantastic rest of your day. My name has been Simpzy. Goodbye.